that they just present. I love it. Hello.
I'll hit recording because you were talking so perfectly, and I'm like going, I don't want to miss that. Oh my God. So I want to welcome everybody who's watching this, because Kristen Clark Unmasked is now just Kristen Clark, the podcast I used to do. It's just that constant evolution of who we are. And this is so cool. I love how this unfolded, because yesterday I was on Facebook and this gorgeous woman just popped up. I don't even know. I wasn't even on Abraham Fun. I went later and I was like, oh, she's on there too. And it was Tea Time with Tammie that popped up.
Yes.
And you know what caught my attention, let me find it because I have a picture of it here, was your post that said, be yourself every day and wonderful things will happen. And I'm like, fuck yes. Oh, by the way, I cuss a lot. And then I saw your whole dance thing for, the Bollywood thing. And I'm like, oh, I'm in love.
Oh, you're so sweet. How kind of you. Thank you.
And I'm just like, I had to reach out. And it was, it's those impulses that hit you. And then I love that you looked at my thing and saw the Do It Afraid, because I have a feeling this is what you and I are going to be revolving a lot about what we talk about today. So anyway.
Absolutely. I can feel the butterflies. Oh, I feel so connected. Like you sound like you are talking the language of my soul sister, my word, Kristen. Like, I love that. You're right. Do it afraid and try. What's the worst that can happen? Nothing. It's just all about experiences. And that's how I want to live my life, as one big glorious adventure.
I love this. So Tammie and I don't know each other. We're just meeting for the first time right here. And though who knows, on an energetic level, it's all different. But yeah. So she's up in Canada. Yay. And I'm up in the San Bernardino Mountains of Southern California. So we've got lots of snow outside. And a lot of people don't think of that as with Southern California, but tell me about you. Just you already have, but you just did. I mean, but just like when you saw Do It Afraid, what afraid thing is popping up for you and going, oh, me, choose me.
This last year was 2021 was a big year for me. That's where I launched my Tea Time with Tammie. And all that was an idea. I had an idea on maybe January 30th. We're coming up to 1 year. January 30th, I said, you know what? I want to travel. Typically, my wife and I travel quite often. We couldn't go anywhere. And I'd said to her, well, if we're going to be locked down, let's go to another country and be locked down. She said no. But my response was, well, I'm going to travel anyway. Because you know what I realized? Your mind doesn't know the difference between whether you're physically somewhere or you're emotional, energetically somewhere. So literally, I pretended to live in a different country every week and put myself out there. No one knows me. This is the first time thing. I had never even knew how to put a video onto Instagram. No knowledge, but I did it anyway. And look at me, a year later, we're almost hitting 200 videos. And we've grown, and I feel like I've expanded as a person. I've tapped into who I am, because what I also learned is that we get to choose who we want to be. That is a choice. Like everything is emotions, and we have the ability to say, I want to be fearless, and you decide to be fearless. And I've learned so much about my channel is about culture and celebrating the beauty of culture and people, whether it relates to dance or food or connection. And I could tell you stories of the most incredible experiences that I've done by being afraid of doing it afraid, not even being afraid, just doing it. And I was thinking about your yesterday when I saw Do It Afraid, and one of my stories came to mind. I was exploring South Africa, right? And so my whole idea was that I would, sort of explore people's cultures while I was at home. So South Africa, you think wines. So I went to the liquor store looking for South African wine. And I picked up this bottle, had a great bottle. It was called Frisky Zebra. And there's a picture of a zebra on it. So I thought about safaris, made sense. So I was going to explore. Then I had this impulse, this thought, wouldn't it be cool to talk to somebody in South Africa from Frisky Zebras and talk to them about wine? And I followed the impulse, called up South Africa, Johannesburg, and then had the distributor of Frisky Wines with me on a podcast just like this, talking about, and we were sipping wine and talking about wine in South Africa at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my gosh.
Right? But
That
isn't
is
that the epitome of doing it afraid? Like, I didn't know what was going to happen, and it didn't matter. But when you're willing to just try anything, wonderful things can happen.
Oh my God. How crazy. How great.
Right?
What an impulse.
Yeah.
What an impulse to follow.
Yes.
Oh
And
my
I have so many of them, like so many great stories of interesting people and putting us, and it's a muscle.
goodness.
Following impulse is a must because you do it once, the outcome's good, then you'll trust yourself to do it again and again. And then you will, it got to the point where anything can become possible at this point because you practice the little things, practice it, and you believe, it's building your belief system that anything can happen. Yes.
What I just realized when you said something about fearless was that fearless doesn't mean there's no fear.
Mm-mm.
And
True.
I just realized that as you said that, I was like, oh my God, fearless doesn't, because if we say the word fearless, we're waiting around for that fear feeling to disappear. And it never does. It never
Mm-mm.
does. And part
Yeah.
of what pushed the whole Do It Afraid was in 2020, I lost my entire business. I lost everything. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go be a nomad. So I just
Yep.
sold everything, all my 98% of my belongings, because I had to live in a Subaru with my dog. So I had to get rid of everything. And
Yeah.
I just went. And I just went. I hit the road. I wasn't sure where I was going. Every morning at every campsite I was at, I opened my map and go, okay, what's jumping out at me? And it might be 2 or 3 states away. And one of the things about Do It Afraid was I was never not afraid. I was never
Yeah.
not afraid. I was always afraid, but I was also always excited. And I was
Yes.
also always having a blast. And like you said, I would have this impulse to just, I'd be out in the middle of nowhere, no GPS signal, no cell phone service, nothing. And what I thought was supposed to be a road was a dirt road. And I've gone 60 miles now, and I have no idea if I'm ever going to find civilization or if it's going to dead end at somebody's house. And I was going to have to turn around and go back. I had no idea. But, I kept remembering Bob Proctor has this saying about both faith and fear demand that you believe in something you can't see. So you choose. I know, right? And I was like, why do I have to choose? Why can't I just interact with both? And so that's what I was doing, because I'm trying to have faith, but here's this fear. And I'm like going, oh, I'm doing it wrong. No, I was doing it totally right. And then I would run into this random group of people who would take me under their wing and say, we know you want to go to Yellowstone, but we want you to go over here and you're going to do that first. And that led to another amazing adventure. And it was just boom, boom, one after another. And we can sit here and say, oh, the universe has got my back and all that, but it's so much bigger than that. I always was taken care of, always. Even when I was in a total panic, freak out, oh my God, I have no money, I don't know what I'm going to do. I was always taken care of. So it was so much bigger than vibrating properly and emotional scales and things like that. It was so much bigger than that. And
but it was exciting. It was exciting because, like, what you learn to do is you start to live in expectation.
Yeah.
right? That something magical is about to happen. I know it because it's always happened. And I trust and have faith that it happened before, it will happen again. There is no difference between a button and a castle. True,
Yeah.
true words. I love
Yes. And there's really no, both fear and excitement have the exact same physiological responses. Your heart gets
it.
beating, your pupils get big, you get, breathing harder and all that. They're exactly the same. So there's something huge in that. There's something huge. And in that moment, you get to choose of, oh, I'm too scared, or I'm so excited, I can't wait. And
Yes.
it really is that constant choice at all times. Yeah. And I love this. I saw this about you. I was like going, and this is when you said be yourself. I was like,
Yeah.
yes, be you. Don't, you've got this person over here saying this is the way you want to be. And it's like, no, that's the way you want to be. How do I want to be? So that's why
How do I choose to be? This is, and at the end of the day, you get to look at your life and say, you know what, that was amazing because you lived it for you. You did the things that brought you joy and happiness and whatever it is that defines that. Isn't that the most important part and the most amazing part of this is that whatever fulfillment that you decide you're going to get that from, whether it's being a mom, or whether it's being a nomad, whether it's being an adventurer, you get to choose that and whatever fulfillment is. And then at the end of this journey that I call life, you look back and say, that was a good ride. We need to do this again.
Yeah. So once again, I'm going to ask you, what afraid is like for me, if I was to claim, I pretend this is turning 2023 and I can look back on this year and said, I did it. I got to do it, whatever it is. The it that I'm so scared to tell anybody and say, hey, this is who I am, because it's not who I am right now, but it's who I want to be. But I'm so scared to say it because what if I fail? What if I say, at the end of this year, I am going to be a self-made multimillionaire, successful, wildly successful businesswoman of the business Kristen Clark. Now, for me to say that, that's scary. That's fucking scary. Because what if I fail? And people go, oh, you said you were going to, but you didn't succeed.
And
so see
what
what
if you
you
do?
I know, but see, and so my question to you is, what is on that caliber for you? What is going, oh, claim me. It's something worse.
I totally get the question. And there's a few things I want to say about this. Like, first of all, I feel like I need to be in the mental space of feeling fear to think about that. Do you know what I mean? So now I'm in such a expectation of excitement of anything's possible that I can't think about something that I would say that I could potentially fail off, because failure suggests that there's a time limit.
Yeah.
There's no time limit. If I have the rest of my life to accomplish it, what does it matter? Right? But okay, so if I was to choose something, I always wanted to, this is one of the things that I wanted to work on before. I actually wanted to do a figure competition, bodybuilding. And I got really, really close. Maybe about 10 years ago, I was about to compete, and then I let go. It requires a lot of discipline and commitment. And I did it for 8 months. And the last 2 months, I let go. And then I had to go on a trip, and I came back and I didn't have that discipline. And I felt like I've been trying to get back to that.
Yes.
And so I was thinking, you know what, this year I'd like to actually compete, and which would require quite a bit of discipline and a lot of work and maybe shifting of body structure a little bit, quite a bit, to get to that point. But right, but I think that would be the one thing that I said it's that I'd want to do this year. That there's a bit of fear that I won't be able to. But if I can get half win, it's next year. Who cares, right?
Yeah. Or
sorry, go ahead.
Could you transport yourself into January 3rd, 2023, and look back on 2022 and go, I did it. I did it.
Yes.
I competed and could
Yes.
like do that right now and just really, really step into not, you know, maybe it might happen. I might get halfway. No. Can you step fully into, I
Mhm.
did it. Can you be that woman right now?
I
With
can't do that. You're right. Pumping up and just flexing and showing off them pecs. Yeah, I can do that. I love it.
I'm a kinesiology major and I did the exact same thing as you. I did the exact same thing as you. I trained, I did all, oh, yeah, you say discipline. People don't even begin to know what discipline is, so you do this. And
Mhm.
I got, I don't even know. Yeah, I was about 3 months out of the competition and I backed out. I backed out.
Mhm.
Yeah, you talk about fear. You talk about being fucking afraid. And but also there was such a shame, you know, of, oh, I told everybody I was going to do this and now I failed and all that stuff. And for me, what I really, it was like, okay, I get to explore this version of me, the version of me that is shame, the version of me that is, I failed, that, you know, I get to explore her and I get to explore her around. And so this year I'm like, okay, I know what that feels like. I got to explore that. Now I want to explore absolute success.
Ooh, ain't that something? It's true.
So you
100%
gonna do
true.
it?
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I feel so
Okay.
pumped up. I'm gonna do it. Yes. To be sitting here January 3rd, 2023 and say, look at me, you know what I mean? I did it. And yes, that would be such a glorifying moment for me and this journey. So fun. Yes, thank you.
Yes. Okay. So what stage did you get up on? So this is 2023. What stage did you get
Oh,
up?
I see. So if I'm supposed to be logical about this and we're planning this out, I'm thinking there's an Ottawa one in August, I think it's 23rd. I actually looked into it for 2022. And so it's 35 plus in the physique. So it's a, you know, more of an older category. So there's one there, and there's also one probably local Stratford that's in October, which probably is a little bit more realistic in terms of giving myself time. But those are two stages that if I really putting myself on that stage, that's when that's when it's going to be, and we're going to play it to the song "Good Life." Welcome to the good life. Yeah, you know what I mean. That'll be my pose song. Yeah, that's what I'll do.
Yay. Okay. Okay. Oh my gosh. You know, and I would love to be, okay, so I want to be like, oh my God, Tammie, I remember in January when you and I were talking about this and you did it. And I watched you just embrace this and charge after this and keep training. And I saw you and you got to be up on the stage and you rocked it and you picked the best song and it worked so good and you did it. You did it.
Yes.
And yeah, oh my gosh.
Yes. That would be something. That would be a full it would be a full circle for me, because what you said before was you told everybody we were going to do it, you didn't do it, and then but there's no expiry date on your goals. None.
Yes.
So 10 years later, I can go back and say, you know what? I didn't do it 10 years ago, but I could do it now. And so keep going. Wouldn't that be the best lesson? Because you take one of those back burner goals that you let go of and you come full circle with it, and nothing else is impossible after that. Let's
No.
do it. Let's
Yeah.
do it, Kristen.
Okay. Okay. And it's also sitting here and saying, I did do it. I did it. Not
I
even
did do it.
let's do it. Now, I don't know if you know who Bentino Massario is. And what
Mm-mm.
he always says is when you talk from the space of it's gonna happen, that is a world unto itself of it's going to happen. And you never make it to it happened because you're constantly attracting the world. It's gonna. So you
Mm-hmm.
have to talk, you have to think, you have to envision from the space of it did happen. It did happen.
Mm.
I am that person. Not I'm gonna be,
Mhm.
I am. Not I'm gonna get that money. That's why a lot of times on Abraham Fun, I always see them saying, somebody saying, you know, $20,000 is coming your way. And I'm like, now you're just gonna live in the world of it's coming, it's coming,
Amen.
it's coming, and it's never gonna make it there. You have to step into the world of it's here, and this is who I
Mm.
am as that person.
You
And
know, that's so true. Go ahead.
isn't that, no, go ahead, go, go, go.
No, no, no. It's so true. And it's interesting because there are some goals where it's 100% easy for us to do that. So in November of this year, my wife and I are leaving and we're going to go to Asia. And we're going to go live in Asia because it's my dream to go live. You know, I love Asian
You
culture.
want to try and you
Right,
do it.
exactly. We want to go traveling again, right?
Oh my
And
God.
so we're leaving November. And when we talk about it, people ask us, when are you going? And I'm like, November 24th, right? Because it's part of the Abraham cruise. And after we're already in Sydney, instead of coming back, we'll just, head over to Osaka or Vietnam or wherever we want to start. So it's very specific. And I talk of it like, we've already let go of, we know we're letting go of our condo. We've already made those plans, but we talk in, not it's going to happen. We talk in absolute, in
Yes.
actual terms, because it's easier. So you see, basically that goal is easy. The other ones, it has a little bit of momentum of not sure. So
Yeah.
the verbiage is a little different, right? So you have to you're right, sit with that and turn the verbiage around to be more in the positive, that it is already a done deal. You're right.
Yeah.
Thank you for pointing that out. That's awesome.
Oh my God. I love that you have the Asia thing to
Yes.
draw from, that feeling of we are going, not I hope I'm going to go. We are.
Yeah.
And oh
Yes.
my God. And now I also love that you're traveling, because I know that's what the whole tea time with Tammie was about.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, how exciting.
Yes,
Oh
we
my,
were learning Japanese. So I can how
wow.
are you doing? And I can say, nice to meet you, konnichiwa, or no, hello is konnichiwa, and goodbye, sayonara. So we get to practice our Vietnamese. So that also builds that's what our starting point with our original starting point is Japan. Whether that happens or not is, we'll decide on that. But that's what my wife and I are actually doing to also get ourselves prepared, because we practice it every day. We live it every day. A little bit every day, which helps to keep us in the moment of it's happening. It's a done deal.
Well, it is there. Now, komsamida. What is that? I think that means thank you. Komsamida?
Arigato.
It,
Arigato is, yeah,
well,
you know what?
there's
We're
a
gonna have
lot
to,
of different
there's a
ones.
lot of different ways probably too. But that's okay.
Yes. Actually, I think komsamida is Korean. Oops.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Komsamida.
Kamasa Haida. Kamasa Haida. Yes. Kamasa Haida. I don't know the pronunciation perfectly, but yes, that is South Korean.
This is my sushi girl talking, because they talk to me. I always talk about do it afraid. Very first thing I ever did was, I didn't want to sit up at the bar where the chefs are. And
Right.
I'm like, do it. And it was the best experience, because I got to talk with them, and they're trying to teach me Korean, even though it's, sushi. So technically should be Japanese, but the guys are all Korean. And oh my gosh, I'd be like, what's the best thing to have today? What's the freshest? And the guy's like, I'm going to set you up. And I got, number one, I got so much free sushi, but number two, it was so freaking delicious. Like I've never had, it was like melt in your mouth butter. And it was just pure raw. There was nothing, there was no little, it wasn't a roll with rice or anything like that. It was just a solid chunk of raw fish. And oh my God, it was so good. And the whole time I was afraid. I was like going, oh shit, what am I going to get? What if I don't like it? And when I saw it, I was like, oh God. And I'm like wanting wasabi, and he goes, no wasabi. You just try it. I know. Yeah. And he's like teaching me the proper way to do it. And he's like, wasabi is an American thing. He's just like, no. you just enjoy the fish by itself. You know, no rice, no nothing. Oh my God. And he was so funny. He just like totally took me under his wing, was teaching me the right way to do it. But this was one of the things I was saying. I just posted on my Instagram, the three of the main things I learned when I was being a nomad is and I just said, let the bartender choose your whiskey. But what I mean is, you know, whether you, no matter what restaurant you're in, or if you go into a Starbucks or whatever, you know, put yourself into their hands instead of going into it with this is the way it has to be willing to go, I don't know, what do you recommend? What do you, and this was, you know, I had meant to go to Yellowstone, but these people I was telling you about earlier, they're like, no, you got to go to Quake Lake. And I'm like, what's Quake Lake? Where's that? And it's, you know, it's totally different direction and everything. And it was unbelievable of, you know, the things that I remember the most, the things that affected me the most were those things. And I had the same thing happen. I ran into a ranger who was cleaning a bathroom and the bathroom was closed. And I'm like, I gotta go pee. And she goes, oh, I'm sorry. You're not even supposed to be in this campground. It's closed because it was COVID time. And then she saw my dog and she goes, oh, and she gets on the ground and starts playing with my dog. And she goes, go ahead, go use the bathroom. We ended up chatting and talking. And I was just like, she goes, well, where are you going to stay? Because all the campgrounds are closed. This is up in Glacier. And I said, I don't know. And she goes, I'm going to tell you where to go. And what was supposed to be one night was so amazing that I ended up staying in that site 3 nights. And again, had some of the most amazing interactions, because even though my fear was saying, don't do it, I was like, okay, I hear you, fear, but we're going to do it.
Yes. Love that story. Yes. But doesn't life have the ability to give you all kinds of surprises? Isn't that the best part though? And I also believe too that what's yours is also yours as well. So, you know, what's you've created and you've with your mind, and it is yours. No one can take them away from you. And when you hold to that truth, the most incredible things can happen. And I always want to share this story like of our place, right? So we live about an hour from Toronto. And a lovely condo. And at the time we were living in a house. And the plan was that we were going to downsize from our house and buy a place here and buy a place in Antigua, which was where I'm originally from. That was the plan. So 2 small places. So we basically let go of our house, having no plan, no place to go, no house, no nothing, right? Like we just said, you know what, we're leaving. And then we started looking for places. My wife saw this particular condo, and it was more than what I wanted to spend. So I said no. And but she said, no, please, come see it. I said, okay, fine. I go in and walk in. I'm like, oh, okay, you know what? This is my house. Love it. So we put the bid in. And of course, I don't know too much about houses. So I pretended I was on House Hunter International. And say, I see them go under bid, and then they come down and we meet in the middle. And so I was pretending like it was on a game show. And we lost the house, right? And so I felt disappointed. And then a few days later, basically the first deal fell through. And I was like, okay, give the people what they want, right? Just throw money at them. And so we went a little bit over, not much over, and we lost the house the second time, right? And then a few days later, the second deal falls through, and the realtor calls and says, can you please take the house? And my wife says, yes, but for $5,000 less, to put us through the inconvenience, right? In a time where places are going 100,000 over asking, we were able to go under because, you know what, standing firm in the belief that life is magical and it makes for a great story. Is it a house? No. But what a story in belief that anything can happen. What's yours is yours. So you have no reason for fear or envy or jealousy, because what's yours, what the things that you've created are just waiting for you to see them and to get your belief up, right? Yeah.
So you said that you guys are going to Asia and you're getting rid of your condo?
Yeah, we're gonna move Kim's mom, who lives here. She's gonna move into our place, and we're gonna release the house to her. And just, it was beautiful while it lasted. I love this space, but on to next adventures. Like I don't believe in living too much in the material. Like the material thing, don't get me wrong. I like me
No.
some good shoots, I love, nice things and so forth. But for me, it's all about the story. And that's what life is about for me. It's the adventures. It's not the house itself, but what a great story of how I got the house. That's
Yeah.
what's important. Right. And then so that's how I live. Like just the experiences and the joys and the laughters and the fact that you could feel that's what's most important for me. And so letting go of the house doesn't even mean anything. It's just sure. On to the next adventure.
Oh, you're quoting me. On to the
Right?
next adventure. I always am saying that. On to the next adventure. On to the next adventure. Because my entire life is, Abraham always says it's, one happy moment after another. It's not about a destination or whatever, of course. And we've heard that 1,000 times from so many people. It's the journey. Yeah. But it's, we have like getting on the stage and you do get to that destination, but you don't stop. You don't stop for a blip. It's so funny. We don't stop for the slightest moment. We blast right through and we're like, cool, did it, on to the next. And it's so funny. We think we're going to stop and just and like jacuzzi into it and get all, oh, I did it, I've arrived, and we don't. By the time those things occur, we're just whoop on to the next. What's next? What's next?
Exactly, because you're constantly creating. We are creators, right? And whether people know it or not, we're all creators. We just tend to choose some, so I think some people a little bit more intentional about what they're creating. But once a creation is done, you're already in the process of creating the next one. So you don't sit in the past. Like I don't spend a lot of time in my past, even like in terms of like the videos or content I put out.
Yeah.
Or even I compete, I dance as well. So I do other types of competitions. And as soon as one is done, all right, next one, the next date. Even when I travel, I never went to vacation or left a vacation without knowing when the next vacation was, right? Because it's like, okay, so people will be at the end of one Abraham cruise saying, oh, I'm so sad, I'm going back. And like, not me. I'm leaving in 3 months to go to Belize or Costa Rica or wherever it is, right? You never, ever stop. Because when you stop, like, what's the point? It's always moving forward, next.
Yes. Oh my God, I love that. And one of the things I always say is don't wait for your manifestation to catch up to you. You just keep going, and it'll happen. But so many times we set an intention and now we sit and we're, okay, where is it? Wait, where's the inspiration? What am I supposed to do now? It's like, stop, just go. It's going, all you have to do is have the tiniest little desire. And it's so funny. It's almost like the smaller the effort you put into it, the quicker it happens. Like you wake up in the morning, you're like, oh, I want a cup of coffee. Well, how quick does it happen that you manifest that cup of coffee? But, and it's like, boom, there it is. Or you're like, I got to go pee. And boom, you manifest a bathroom where you get to go pee. And we're in that space of, oh, well, no, that's normal. And it's like, no, it's like you just were in that. It's already a done deal. I know I have a bathroom. Well, honestly, honey, there was no bathroom there. There was just blank space. And you're in the, maybe your eyes are so closed, or maybe you're just sitting there looking at your ceiling in your bedroom going, oh, I gotta pee. And in your mind, here's what the bathroom looks like. And there's the toilet and there's the shower and there's this, and you're creating.
Constantly creating. And someone said, I forgot the number, but we actually have thousands of little wins every day. Little wins from the oh, you had my favorite cup of coffee, or I had the last bagel, or like these little mini wins. But we don't sometimes, that's what it means by smelling the roses, is acknowledging those little wins, and those little wins add up to bigger wins. And sometimes we're too focused on the big things, but there are all these mini things. That's why they said live in gratitude. Constantly live in a place of gratitude, because when you're grateful for everything, every single thing, then it's just all it does, it creates more. and the universe gives you more things to be grateful for. And then, you know, then it doesn't become such a big deal. Then you're just living this life of joy and light and happiness, and people enjoy being around you, and you enjoy this journey of life so much more, right?
So you have a YouTube channel, you said.
I do.
And what else?
What else is on top of my YouTube channel? Well, my YouTube channel, I call it my love diary. And it's my, when I talk a lot about, like, when I come to the end, I can offer that. It says, this is what I did with my life. It represents the things that I love dearest. I love people. I love culture. I love adventures. I don't want to just learn something. I want to experience everything that life has to offer. I want to experience all the different festivals and the foods, and just that is what I find brings the most joy. And I want to take people on a journey that way. I also dance. I'm a ballroom dancer, and I also love exploring other people's dance. So right now I'm exploring Bollywood. So that's one. I do Toastmasters as well. I do like speaking competitions. I just run my new project, and I guess that's my next new adventure coming up. I moved on to district, or whatever that means. And sometimes I don't even know what these means. People just say, Tammie, let's go do a podcast tomorrow. I'm like, okay, let's do that. So my whole life is just filled with ways to experience joy and laughter, and fills my soul. And being creative is probably the number one thing for me right now.
So exploring you. It's just exploring you. Yeah.
Exactly.
So what's like Toastmasters with the speaking competition? What is that?
I know. So when I first started my tea time with Tammie, like, of course, I just did it. You know, I chose Poland. Poland was my very first country. I started February 1st, 2021. That's when I started my YouTube channel. And so I pretended to live in Poland. So, you know, Jen Klecki, learned to speak. I always wanted to say hello and thank you in all different countries. And I did the first couple videos and realized I had 17 ums in a 1-minute video. So I'm like, that can't work. So I remember I overheard there was a Zoom meeting, and a person said, if you want to improve your speaking, go and join Toastmasters. So I heard the impulse, typed in Toastmasters, and found a Toastmaster group to join. So it's called Energetics. Fit my time, perfect, joined. I paid for the membership before I even went to the first meeting. Do it afraid, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, right. So I did. I joined the meeting, and it was amazing. I learned how to put together speeches, and I've certainly enjoyed that journey of being comfortable speaking. And then they asked me, Tammie, do you want to do a competition? I'm like, well, what's it for? They just said just to compete. Okay. I say yes to everything, and then figure it out afterwards. So there I was, never even finished one program, competed, and I won. And so now I compete the area, then the district, and then maybe we'll see how far it goes international. So yeah, that was just a whim to help me out with my show. And it's just ending up being, another adventure, another line of adventure. That's all.
Oh my gosh, how fun. I love that, because I used to do a lot of speaking. I used to do a lot of seminars up on stages, and I miss it. Then COVID happened, and I miss it so much. I love the traveling around, because it really is about what many things, or one thing, or whatever makes you come alive, makes you go, oh. And I wrote a book called, and published it, called Living from the Gush. And some people call it the flow. Some people call it coming alive. I call it the gush, because you're gushing. You're like, oh my God, let me tell you about this. And
the life force is pulsing through you. That's creation, right? Yes.
Yes. And I love that. And that's what happens when I get up on a stage, is I just get going, especially if I'm interacting with people. And, it's almost like a tennis match. You guys are just volleying back and forth. And I love that, because I love letting all these amazing aspects of ourselves just, vomit forward all over the place. And you know, it's fun, and it smells good, and it's flowers, and it's just, it makes you go, wow, I love what you're saying, because there's so much inspiration in it. And
Mhm.
oh my gosh, I might have to see if I can find a Toastmasters around here.
It's so incredible. But again, it's one avenue. Like I feel the same. It's this life force pulsing through you when you're able to create because you write your speeches.
Yeah.
And the last speech I wrote was called "The Gift of Gratitude." That was my winning speech, and I'm going to perform that again the next few times. But it was this idea that I remember having that thought. Oh, I want to do something about the universe and gratitude. And I remember seeing that and creating that. And then when you actually wrote it and then were able to give it, like you just gave birth to the manifestation of something that happened in your mind. And there is no greater exhilaration than being intentional about a creation and sharing that. And I feel the same way when I dance, when you're able to let go and go into your body and just feel that movement and feeling your soul be one with music. And you get to sometimes you get to transform into different personalities, so because we do like showcases. And all of that is just a way to tap into what I call God. I think everyone has God living in us, the ability to create. And when we are one, our physical self is in one with that God that's in us. It is, that's what goosebumps are. That's what the gush is. That is what this elation and God, that feeling, that's what it is. And you know what also is amazing? Being around other creators who tap into their God, whatever that is. And being in that space is such a powerful, just to be around people who are intentional about their art and whatever it is that they're passionate about, whatever it is that is means for that.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. What makes you come alive? Yeah.
Mhm.
What, it's like, I know a lady who loves cleaning houses. I mean, that makes her come alive. When she goes into a house that is a mess and they're hiring her not just to clean, but to organize, oh, she'll talk your ear off about she
Right?
will just go on and on about what she did with just the kitchen alone, and how, oh my gosh. And it's so wonderful to see that, because anybody else, me, I'd be like going, what are you talking about? Organization.
Exactly. Exactly.
But it really is that beautiful energy of the, like you
Yeah.
said, passion, the
Mhm.
passion, and watching people just become innovators in
Yes.
what seems like a ridiculous subject, but it's just like going, holy cow, look what you just did.
Right.
Oh, and I
Right. And
love.
and you know what? Even though I don't, sometimes I talk to people and they're talking some things that I don't understand, right? Like it goes way over my head. But the idea of creation understands what they're saying with that feeling. I may not know the words, like I may not know, like if you're talking physics to me, like I don't get it. However, I understand passion because I know that I live passionately, right? So I understand you from an energetic level. That's why people get drawn to each other, people who are bold enough to express themselves and to be themselves, right? And those people find each
Yes,
other.
yes.
It was cold. We just got over it.
Oh, well, I'm glad you're over it. Yay.
Right?
uh,
And
no, I was gonna say, and I'm so, I knew that it was, do it afraid was gonna be an underlying foundation of what we're talking about, because that really is it. It's like, to find those, that passion, and to know that that's you. And then all
mhm.
this other stuff, all these excuses or all these reasons why not and stuff, that's not you. That's your mom, that's your dad, that's your
Woo.
fourth grade teacher, whatever, that's your ex-husband, whatever. That's not you. The you is those goosebumps. It's that passion. It's that, oh, I can't, like you said, you got the inspiration to call somebody in Johannesburg, and there was no not doing it. I'm gonna do it.
Exactly.
Yeah, and when I took off on the nomad adventure, it I don't understand it now, but I understood it very clearly then. I never could have done it before that moment. And I don't know, but in that moment, I understood to the T, because I've always wanted to be a nomad. You know, how many people want to just go travel around via an RV or whatever. But I realized in that moment that it never was going to happen before, right here, right now, in that moment. And I knew it completely. I was like, oh, wow. So I really don't have to try to do anything I want to do. I just get to put it out there and now live life, and it'll happen when it's meant to happen. We hear that, but there's always that part of us that's like, no, I'm gonna force it. I'm gonna make it happen. and it's like, yeah. And in that moment, I learned it. I really, it wasn't even a learning. It was almost like a remembering, an innate, solid knowing that I never could have done this. I couldn't have gotten rid of 98% of my belongings. I couldn't have done any of the things I was doing in that moment before that moment. And it was so powerful. And now I'm like, I can't remember how I knew that. and I can't find that solid knowing again. I can't find that feeling. So and that's fine. That's cool, because I know it was there, and I know that I was solid in it, and I knew it through and through, you know, on a molecular level. I knew this. And so it's like, okay. And there was, it was a different joining with fear. With, like I said before, when you said fearless, I suddenly realized fearless doesn't mean you don't have fear.
True.
If you look in a dictionary, that's what it says. But in this moment right now, I know that fearless doesn't mean you don't have fear. It means that, you know, it's you. It's, you know, it's like I have 5 fingers over here, and fear and afraid and doubt and worry. That's just part of my fingers. You know, it's no big deal. It's over here because I have a whole rest of me, and I have all this other parts of me that are joy and awesomeness and fantastic and amazing, and to embrace it all as me. This is me. You know, for me to say, oh, I've got to get rid of fear is like saying you're going to get rid of your right hand. You sure you want to do that? I don't think
I really like my right hand.
It's very useful. But,
right?
You know, and so I love this. Do it afraid. I love the invitation to go, okay, what if I don't succeed? What if everybody goes, see, you said you were going to do this and you didn't succeed. So what you believe in doesn't work. You know, there's all that coming up, and going forward anyway.
What? I love this. One of the countries that I explored on Tea Time with Tammie is Finland. Ooh. And Finland had a day that they started. Let me not get, I think it's October 13th, but I'll have to double check that. But it's called a Day of Failure. And it was started by university students. And basically, they celebrate flops, glorifying failures. It is so amazing. And so I talked about this, and basically it's started by university students. I know it's a big thing. And the next year, big names in Finland, like the owner of Creative Angry Bird, the ice hockey coach, the board of directors, like they all came out and just talked about their failures. Because what they said was, if you can embrace failure and realize it's just a journey, then you go take the risk, you go get the job. Excuse me. You go ask that person out on a date, right? You do all of it. And so they give you ideas of what to do that day. You make the dish, so it comes out crap. So what? And they glorify failure, and it normalizes it, and it doesn't become a big deal. Because you tried. You followed the impulse and tried. And that's what's most important. I love that. My God,
I love that. Last night, I watched this movie with Meryl Streep where she was that singer from back in, who's a horrible singer, a god-awful singer. And Hugh Grant is in it with her. And oh my God, I'm like totally flopping on the name of it. But and I mean, she's a debutante. She's rich, so she, you know, she can go in Carnegie Hall and sing, and everybody's going to celebrate her, even though she's god awful. She's horrible. But it's about how, you know, her journey into making a record and everything. And it was one of the highest selling records, not because she was good. She's anything but a songbird, but because she did it. And this is what she said on her deathbed was, she goes, people might be able to say I can't sing, but they'll never be able to say I didn't sing. And that's it. You know, it's celebrating and it never was a failure. It wasn't a failure. What should have been a failure, which should have been an absolute flop, ended up being the biggest grossing and highest selling record for the company that said yes to making her record. And I mean, it's number one, Meryl Streep, of course, she's an amazing actress, but it is such a wonderful, wonderful, fantastic movie. And yeah, and it just was, it really is about, you know, like The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. He went up to, he wanted to be a NFL. He wanted to be football. He wanted to play football. And he ended up going up to Canada and going to some summer camp where they, you know, and look at this guy. He should have been football. He's huge. And yet he didn't make it. And all he had in his wallet was $7 to get back to the United States. And now what am I going to do? They told me I'll never be a football player. Well, thank God, because look where he is now. You know, he's the highest grossing actor. He's in such high demand. And, you know, it's, and he loves going and talking about this. He loves talking about his biggest flop. His biggest hell no from the universe. His biggest failure was what launched him. What, you know, and it yeah, I love that.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. I gotta look that up.
Yes, and that's what I loved about my journey with Tammy, because I got to go and explore different cultures and learn from different people and different experiences. Look at that. Isn't that great? And there's so many that of you know, different beautiful things about different people's culture and countries that makes you like, this world is such a beautiful, magical place. And if you put focus on that, then you're going to see more of that and just enriches life, right? I loved it. Yes.
Oh my God. You just said a mouthful. You know, one of the things that drives me up the wall the most is when people put the human being, the human experience in a hierarchy as low. When they're just like, oh, the paltry humans, especially when they're interacting with another being such as Abraham's or whatever, and they say, oh, this human experience, and they rate it down as low. Oh, because you experience emotions and stuff. And I'm like, are you kidding? We are the Olympic athletes of the multiverses, because let's see you don emotions such as depression and things like that. Let's see you handle that. Let's see you do that. I think we are, and because of what you said, here's these people who could easily go, oh, failure, no. And they're made a freaking holiday out of it. Are you kidding me? Oh my God, that is just, and see, that is what makes human beings, that's what makes us who we are so fan-freaking-tastic, is that we don't just say, yes, I'll experience it. We make a fucking holiday out of it.
We embrace it. We embrace it. Because listen, I love it. I absolutely love it. You know, the other one that I thought was amazing, was it also Finland? I think it's Finland too. They have an air guitar world championships. Have you ever heard of such a thing? In Ulo, Finland. I'm pretty sure it's Finland. So listen, it was supposed to be a joke. This is how brilliant humans are. It was supposed to be like this side attraction joke. And it became a huge success because they're like, people literally from around the world go and like rock out on this air guitar, right?
Imaginary
celebrating positivity, and everyone does it and comes together and they rock out. And I'm like, that is celebrating who we are as as
Yeah.
humans, as people, and sharing our life. I love stories and reading about people's cultures and things like that. Isn't that cool? Humans are amazing. I swear, amazing.
That Tammie, you have so motivated me, number one, to go do explore more and I learn it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh. And that is such a great idea. That is,
Yeah.
boy, I'll tell you, if you could put a book together and like chapter 1 is Finland, and you not only are you like telling people, but you're just giving them ideas so they have to go do it themselves, and have a journaling section where they can journal what they've discovered, and it's a whole month, and then the next month here's the next place you're going to go visit, and it's almost like you're a tour guide.
Something I always said. I said I'm going to write a book. I have a to-do list, a life to-do list. That's what I call it, of all the things I'm going to do. That is my job. Where people say, what is your job? My wife and I, when we first dated, made a to-do list of things that we wanted to experience together, also individually together. I said I was going to do a book. Is that a great idea? Right? To each country's a chapter. That'll be fun.
Yes. And again, like I said, it's like you're the tour guide, but instead of telling people everything, you're leaving it up to them to explore a little bit and learn something. Like, here's day whatever, or week 1 or whatever. What culture fun thing did
that's a great idea. Let's do it. I love that idea. Because I even found a book that had 365 days of gratitude and things to do, but you could actually take it as a culture, like a month at culture. And shoot, I did like 6 months worth, so I got tons of material. What a great idea! And it's so funny because what I did for my show was I didn't just teach people that culture. Like, for example, this is probably the funniest, craziest thing I've ever done. I swear to God. Estonia had a wife carrying competition. Never heard of it. Like, literally, you take your wife, flip her upside down, and you race. And so I thought it was pretty funny. Like, I love that kind of thing. That's amusing to me. But I figured I have a wife, so I literally got a field, picked my wife up, and carried her to like a figure 8 in the field, and that was my video. Not just talk about it, do it, experience it. Like, put yourself in that. If I was going to talk about a meal, make the meal, do it, right? So that is literally how I started my show, is to experience, learn something, share a culture, but do something with it that makes you laugh.
I love that. Don't just talk about it, do it.
Do something, right?
Amen. Oh, that was so good. And I'm going to say that's probably going to be the space for us to stop on, because that was perfect. So before we go, is there anything that's bubbling up that you just feel like you got to say to whoever just happens upon this recording?
Say yes to all opportunities. Literally, Kristen saw a Bollywood, I'm doing Bollywood. She saw a Bollywood video of me. She told on a whim, she messaged me. I happened to be on the Kimpi. I said, do you want to do a podcast? I said, yes. And look at this hour that we spent just laughing and sharing and inspired. I am so inspired by you, Kristen. Thank you so much for taking the chance, reaching out and connecting energetically and physically with me. I really enjoy this time and space. And to everyone else, say yes. Just say yes. Figure out.
You know what? When I messaged you, it wasn't even 20 seconds that I got the yes. And I was like, whoa, cool. It was the fastest yes I ever got. And I love, a lot of times people are like, oh, who is this chick? And they got to Google me and they got to check me out or whatever. And no, Tammie just jumped on it. She didn't need to make sure that I was like some stalker or anything like that. She just, yeah, let's do it. And I love, yes, that's exactly it. And I always tell people, if it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. And to trust that, to find, and like you said before in the beginning of this, it's a muscle. It's a muscle, that inspiration. It's a muscle. And to get used to using it. get used to feeling that hell yes, because it's everywhere. And when I start saying hell yeses to things, more hell yeses start pulling up all over
Ain't
the
that
place.
truth? It's so true. Oh,
Oh
love
my
you.
God. Thank you, Tammie, so much. And yeah, man, you talk about soul sister. Holy cow. So much stuff you were saying. I was like, that's my line.
Yes, let's do please stay in touch. And yes,
Yes.
and if everyone wants to check me out, I'm on YouTube, Tammie with Tammie. We're on socials, Instagram, Facebook. And I'm starting a new TikTok that I'm gonna record you right now, Kristen. And my new TikTok it's gonna be the Happiness Is Project, where I ask random people what makes you happy. So can we end that way? Can I say, just gonna ask you there, Kristen, what in 2 words or 2 things, what makes you happy?
Life and Kristen Clark.
I love it. Right? Thank you so much. I appreciate you so much.
I appreciate you too. And all Tammie's information is going to be below. This is going to be on YouTube, and I'm going to send you the recording. And oh my God, this has been the best hour I've had in a long time.
I appreciate it. Yes. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. Goodbye.